Donna Hunter and Gary Knapp and I have been partnered in these endeavors for many years now, and we gain as much as we give. We gain more than we give. Dr. Steve Nugent is Manitech's Chief Science Officer and Chairman of the Global Scientific Advisory Board. He has more than 40 years of experience in the area of integrative medicine. He's internationally recognized as an expert in his field and has been teaching doctors for more than 30 years. He is Manitech's most requested speaker worldwide. He's earned multiple degrees, graduating with top honors at both the undergraduate and graduate levels. His areas of study includes integrative medicine, health and wellness psychology, leadership psychology, organizational psychology, neuropsychology, biological anthropology, nutrition science, and business administration. Dr. Nugent served as president of the International Association of Complementary Medicine and is president emeritus of the American Naturopathic Medical Association. He is the professional member of the American College of Nutrition, and he was awarded the Servant's Heart Award by Manitech Associates in 2007. He's one of Australasia's favorites. He carries the heart for the health, well-being, and education of all he meets. Dr. Nugent is passionate about giving the power of wellness back into the hands of everyday people.
Thank you, Sharon, so much for the introduction. Today, we are going to be talking about global health trends. Sharon has made me a host, so I can show you some slides. So, global health trends for 2022. And I'm going to give you some predictions that go all the way up through 2028 based on the current data and the trends of those data. And you're going to be surprised by some of this, I think. So the first question is, what are those global health trends? What are the most popular products? What are the most popular categories of products? Where are people spending their money? And, and that's really the evidence for us. Where people are spending their money, those are the trends. That's what people are after. And they're buying products not just for the heck of it. They're buying products because they're looking for solutions to particular issues. And that's how we can predict these trends. So how are they spending their money globally on health and wellness? The highest rates of growth between 2019 and 2022. What are they? Again, you're going to be surprised about which categories they are. And then, of course, what's the future for this area? Whether your focus is helping yourself with your health or your family, your loved ones, you want to help a friend with their health, or if your focus is to find out what's the best area of sales to focus your business on, it doesn't matter. This trend information is helpful to you either way. So then, let's start at the beginning. As the old saying says, begin at the beginning. People don't realize this, that it starts when you're born. That's when you begin to age. And as you age, your needs for nutrition change. One of the common questions I've had over the last few years, keeping in mind that I've been doing this now for more than 40 years. So imagine that you're in my spot, somebody that I know from, say, 20 years ago. And they'll say, you know what? I've been taking product A and it worked great for me, but the product doesn't work anymore. So what's changed? And what I'll have to say to them is, well, the product hasn't changed, but you have. In fact, you're 20 years older and there are things going on in your body, some subtle, but you may not be aware that these changes are now affecting your needs for supplements. You'll find that as we age, in almost every category, we require more supplementation of the same nutrients that we've been taking for years before, but now we've hit that point, that plateau, if you will, where now we have to add more of the same nutrient to continue to get the same effect. So the nutrient hasn't changed. You've changed. Now we know that the peak of cellular health is around the age of 28. It varies a little bit. Some people it's 27 or 30, but the average is 28. In fact, we know from studies on pregnancy and healthy children that the best year for a woman to carry a child and give birth is her 28th year. That will be the healthiest child according to the data. After you hit 28, you begin a slow but steady cellular decline. Now, it's a slow decline, so you don't really notice anything obvious when you're 28, 29, 30. Nothing really obvious is hitting you. Now, if you're a finely tuned athlete, well, then you would notice a change. And in fact, very few athletes continue beyond the age of 30. A small percentage of those who do make the news all the time. And then everyone thinks, well, all athletes are fantastic beyond the age of 30. And not really. It's not really the case. But there are some notable ones that do. The point is, we're beginning cellular decline at the age of 28. It's slow, it's gradual, but it's happening. And it's normal. By the time we reach the age of 40, now we begin to notice things. And some of the things that we'll notice might be that we don't recover from activity or exercise as easy as we used to. Maybe we have some more aches and pains on recovery than we used to. Perhaps we'll wake up in the morning and feel a little stiffness that we never felt before, or a little joint ache or lack of joint mobility that we never experienced before. It's little things that start to slowly creep up on you. Most people don't report any significant age-related changes with their eyesight until they hit around the age of 40 or early 40s. And I can go on down the list. Digestion is a very, very, very big one. People begin to report digestive symptoms in a big way around the age of 40, but they tend to ignore it, thinking, oh, well, this is just something that will pass and I'm okay. And it was just because I ate this food or that food. But folks, if you're not digesting in the same efficiency level as you did before, then something has changed and you need to look at it. We'll talk about digestive health during this webinar as well. So around the age of 40 is when it starts. And then each decade of your life, the decline becomes a little more obvious until at a certain point, which is different for everybody. In my particular case, I didn't begin to feel any real significant noticeable symptoms of aging until I was about 67. And that's great that I wasn't feeling that stuff in my 40s, my 50s, and most of my 60s. And that says a lot about taking the right nutrition to improve not only your longevity, but the quality of your life as you're aging. Now, I want you to keep these ideas in mind as I talk about the trends. There's a reason for everything I do, or at least as it relates to dietary supplements, there's a reason for everything I do. And by the way, there's a QR code in the bottom right of this slide, and I invite you to use that QR code to watch my video on evidence for lifelong supplementation. Keeping in mind that 56% of all the discretionary income held by people on planet Earth is in the hands of the so-called baby boomers. And since they're also the majority of the people buying dietary supplements, it's probably good information to have. Okay, so fruits and vegetables, let's start there. And by the way, it really should be vegetables and fruits. You should eat very small amount of fruit and very large amounts of vegetables. The majority of the human diet should be vegetables, which, by the way, is the opposite of what almost everyone on the planet does. Now, there are exceptions, of course, but most people tend not to eat their veggies, okay, or tend not to eat enough of them. So a study was done in 1995, and it was the first study of its type on planet Earth by any government. And the scientists at the U.S. Department of Agriculture, they said, you know, vegetables and fruits, they have certain antioxidant phytonutrients. Phyto comes from an ancient Greek word that means plant. So today, whenever we talk about nutrients that specifically come from plants, we talk about phytonutrients, okay? So they said, let's do a big scale human study because the US government had the money and, you know, let's do it. So they do the study, it's a blood study. And what they find out is that the majority of people that they test are not eating enough vegetable and fruit every day to keep up with something called oxidative stress. And I'll talk about that more in this presentation as well. Oxidative stress is something that affects 68 different categories of your health. It will accelerate your aging faster than anything else. So if you want to live the longest and highest quality of life, then you need to make sure you have sufficient antioxidants, the right antioxidants, and in the right amounts. So it starts with eating fruits and vegetables. Well, the problem here is that almost no one that they studied was, and they said, well, at a minimum, everybody needs to eat 5 to 7 servings of fresh, not canned, not frozen, not dehydrated, fresh fruits and vegetables every day. What they found in a follow-up government survey is that only 11% of Americans were doing that. And despite the fact that every country has a sense of national pride about their diet, and every country I go to, literally every single one, the citizens always say, well, our diet is better. And good for them. They love their country. They have a sense of national pride, and they believe that. But the fact is, the modern diet is pretty much the modern diet, and pretty much worldwide. And humans are biologically humans worldwide. Doesn't matter what country you're born in, you still have the same biological requirements. So with this in mind, this is probably something that we could extrapolate across all countries. Well, they continued doing these blood studies up through 2012. And when they got to 13 servings a day, they said, oh, forget it. We're not going to spend the money to do these studies anymore. There's no point, because every year pollution is worse. And every year we have to increase the serving sizes. And nobody was doing the first recommendation in 1995. So we're not going to do the studies anymore. With that in mind, it stopped at 13 in 2012. I have no idea what it is 10 years later, but it's going to be higher than 13. Are you doing 13 servings a day of fresh vegetables and fruits every day? Are you? Probably not. So that's a big area that you really can't ignore. Next, one of the world's most respected medical journals, the Journal of the American Medical Association, published a very interesting study done by a couple of doctors who were both surprised by the findings. This is a blood study again. And their question was, do people get enough vitamin from diet alone? And the answer was no, most people don't. And so they said, it appears that most people don't get enough vitamin from diet alone, and everyone should take vitamin supplements. Now, most doctors don't know that. Most doctors haven't read this particular study. And how can you expect any doctor to read every study? Folks, there's millions of studies. Nobody could ever read them all. I read new studies every day. If I could live 14,000 years, I would never be able to read them all, because there's new ones being published every month. Anyway, so most doctors don't know this, but everybody should be taking a vitamin supplement. Well, according to the USDA surveys, for years they were reporting that 90% of Americans were deficient in at least one nutrient. But this last year, guess what we found out? It's now up to 94%. So it's getting worse. Now, has the modern diet changed country to country? Yes, I know. Whatever country you live in, you're proud of your diet. I get it. I understand. I respect you for that. I truly do. But it's unlikely that the diet in your country is terribly different than the diet in the US. It's very unlikely. I mean, American garbage food is kind of been ruling the world. It's everywhere. And it's unfortunate. So we've got people with more than 70% of the population worldwide probably is deficient in a variety of nutrients, not just one. So phytonutrients, vitamins, and minerals, these are all key things that you need, which are synergistic to a wide variety of effects in your body. Physiological effects, psychological effects. Psychology comes in. I'll talk about that before we end this webinar as well. Well, let's get to the trends. Now, the first one's pretty obvious, right? With the events that have occurred over the last few years, everybody's going to say the same thing. It's just obvious. The biggest trend must be immune support, right? Well, let's take a look. Here's what we know about the sales from 2021. This is in US dollars, by the way. Okay. So US dollars, of all the different dollar currencies in the world, has the highest value per dollar, right? So this is US dollars. 20 billion, billion with a B, $20 billion worth of immune supplements were purchased in 2021. At the current rate of growth, it is expected to reach almost 32 billion US dollars by 2028. That rate of growth has consistently been about 6.6% annually. All right, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of supplements. So immune support clearly is number one, right? Maybe not. In fact, it's not. It's number two. What? How can that be? With the events of the last few years, surely immune support must be number one. No, that's not what the trends tell us. Remember, the money that people are spending tell us what they're after, what they're looking for. So it's not always what we expected it to be. The number one area is digestive health. Now, I'll give you a lot about that during this webinar so that you'll understand why so many people are choosing digestive health. Now, the first thing, of course, is that you choose supplements to meet whatever need you feel you must meet. Human beings, with very few exceptions, will always follow the path of least resistance, and people do not spend money that they don't need to spend. People don't just go out and buy dietary supplements for the heck of it. They buy supplements for a reason, because they feel a need and they're looking for an answer for that need. That's why they buy supplements. Well, let's quickly look at all the categories, and we'll get into some detail here. Brain health and psychological health, so mood, if you will, is category number 3. I'll talk about that in a few moments. Eye health. Now, folks, when you see me in person, you never see me with glasses on. But when you see me through a computer Zoom, you always see me with glasses on. Why? These glasses are treated to help me with the negative effects of the blue screen from the computer. I do this to help protect my eyes because I'm on the computer on average between 14 and 18 hours a day, pretty much 7 days a week. And I want this extra protection. So eye health is a very big area of nutrition right now, very big. And then the last category on this would be sleep and calmatives. Now, I would give a personal prediction that the sleep calmative area is going to move up on this hierarchy list in the next year or two. I think it's going to keep moving up. But right now, it's number 5 on the list. And when a lot of people say, well, women's health and weight loss, well, those are constants. They're not trends. Okay, they're constants. Okay, those two areas. Think about digestive health. Think about how much time we spend thinking about food, planning a meal, deciding what restaurant we're going to go to, thinking about how great a particular food would taste, thinking about what foods we shouldn't eat, time for preparation of food, time for shopping for food, time for cleaning up after we've made the food. I mean, our lives are preoccupied with food. Think about it. And how you digest your food is a key to your overall health. Human beings were, after all, designed to actually get nutrition from food. That's why we have the digestive system that we have. And this starts with first chewing your food, which almost nobody chews their food properly. People tend to eat their food super fast, and they tend to eat their food while they're talking to people at the dinner table. So they're not really chewing sufficiently to masticate that food to the point where it can go properly to the second stage of digestion. Almost nobody does that. Well, then you get to that second stage, and that would be acids and enzymes. So your stomach acid needs to be somewhere between 1 and 3, a pH level of between 1 and 3, which is very acidic. And we've had the pharmaceutical industry telling us for how many decades now? Oh, we're going to help neutralize that stomach acid. And then we have people who misunderstand the alkalinity theory, and they think it means that every aspect of your body always has to be alkaline to be healthy. And that's not what the science says. So they think, oh, I should neutralize my stomach acid. Or I have acid reflux, so I should neutralize my stomach acid. Folks, you don't have acid reflux because of stomach acid. You have it for other reasons. It's just that's the vehicle that comes up and burns you, gives you the so-called heartburn, right? Digestive enzymes then are the next stage. A chemical signal starts in your mouth that goes to your brain that tells your brain the following food groups are being consumed right now. The brain then sends a signal, cellular communication, by the way, sends a signal to your pancreas, and then your pancreas creates the digestive enzymes, which are then secreted into your stomach so you can start to break down these foods, proteins, carbohydrates, fats, and so on. So digestive enzymes are key. What do we know about enzymes? We know that around the age of 28, we begin to produce fewer digestive enzymes. By the time we hit 40, we are on average producing about 13% fewer digestive enzymes per decade. Now think about this. If we started at 40, and actually we started at 28, but let's say we started just at 40, and we're now producing 13% fewer digestive enzymes than we did during our 30s, that's going to affect our ability to get nutrition from the food we eat, isn't it? We may eat exactly the same food. We may be eating the healthiest food. But if you don't digest it properly, you're not getting the nutrition from it. Then you go into your 50s, now you're down 26%. And then you go into your 60s, and now you're down 69%. Think about this. So why do we see more digestive related health problems as we age? Well, that's a big, big part of it. And you may not be aware of this, but if you can't digest the foods that provide you the nutrition for your immune system, guess what's not going to work right? Your immune system. In fact, your immune system actually starts in your gut. About 70% of it resides in your gut. We'll talk more about that in a few minutes. So then, digestive enzymes, pretty darn important, yet almost nobody uses them. We get people who will say, oh, well, I get gas when I eat beans or legumes, so I'll take an enzyme for that. Well, folks, if you're getting gas with that, that means you're not producing enough enzymes in a number of categories, not just that one, and you want to digest your food. Pretty darn important, isn't it? I would say so. Well, let's look at the market here. Again, what people are spending their money on is what tells us what's most popular, because people aren't just throwing away their money, they're looking for answers. So look at this, almost 38 billion US dollars spent in 2019 on digestive products. Wow. Prediction of 72 billion by 2027. Huge. A growth rate of not 6.6%, as we see in immune products, but 7.9%. And what does this tell us? This means that people are spending about double the money on digestive products as they are on immune products. And part of that is because your immune system actually originates in your gut. And a lot of people are learning that. They're actually beginning to understand this. So we're looking at a difference of about 40 billion US dollars by 2028. It's huge, absolutely huge. Well, what's driving this? Again, people don't buy supplements unless they think they need them, all right? 62% of adults globally, not just in one country, but globally, have digestive health complaints. 62%. The people with immune complaints are about 20%. Can you see where this is going? 76% of Americans have digestive health complaints. I think a lot of that has to do with the way the American health system works. Here's one that's key, because the majority of people who buy dietary supplements are females. And women have approximately twice the incidence of digestive complaints that men do, just about double the digestive health complaints. Now, I mentioned that I read studies every day, and I try to categorize the studies that I read so I'm not always only reading one group. And I alternate. So sometimes I read genetic studies. Every week I try to read at least 2 new genetic studies. And I ran across a genetic study that I thought was just fascinating. Scientists have been studying genes inside of probiotic bacterium and found that these genes directly speak to genes in certain brain cells. Yes. Folks, this is really interesting to me. That means there is part of this design where those probiotic bacterium, and by bacterium is one bacteria, and then lots of bacteria are bacteria, okay? So just in case you wondered why I keep shifting the words back and forth. So there is a gene in a particular bacterium that speaks to a particular brain cell. Folks, this is amazing information. So when we talk about the gut-brain connection, we really mean the gut-brain connection. I mean, these probiotics are actually talking to brain cells, and the brain cells are talking to the probiotics. And a big part of what they're talking about is your psychology. So we now know that how you think and how you feel, especially how you feel, has a lot to do with the health of your gut. This is really exciting stuff to me. I hope to you, but to me, it's definitely exciting stuff. So I like to say that, you know, happy brain, happy gut, right? Obviously, if this connection is working, you're going to do a lot better. Now, there's a very key protein, amino acid, that's made in the gut through an interaction with probiotics and glycans. You know about glycans, right? Which is called GABA, gamma aminobutyric acid. It's one of the most important neurochemicals, brain chemicals. It's a chemical that really helps you with mood and relaxation and being calm. It's a chemical that helps you relax enough to get into a nice sleep pattern and to stay in that sleep pattern. GABA is really, really important stuff. And it's not made in the brain. That's where it works. It works in the brain. It's made in the gut. And that's pretty important stuff. 95% of the serotonin, everybody's heard discussions about serotonin. 95% of your body's serotonin is actually made in your intestines, not in your brain. A lot of people are surprised about that. So in the area of digestive health, we're looking at double what we see with immune health. Obviously, those are the top 2 categories. They're both really big, but digestive health is number 1. Again, you have a QR code that you can just take your smartphone, take a picture of that, and that will take you to my video on focus on the human microbiome. Okay, so, and I invite you to watch that video. So here you look at our immune-related products and our gut-related products as well, because all of these are, obviously GI Pro Balance is gut-related, but the others you may not realize are prebiotic. A prebiotic is the food that a probiotic eats in order to be healthy and multiply. That's really important stuff. And about 70% of your immune system originates in your gut. That's where it starts. So if you're going to help your immune system overall, you better have a healthy digestive system. That's, folks, where it starts. Now, you also have a QR code. You can use your smartphone, take a picture of that. Catalyst, product focus. And there I talk significantly about our Catalyst multivitamin, a lot of detail. So I won't go into a lot of detail here because you've got that video you can go watch. But every nutritional function in the body requires at least 1 vitamin and at least 1 mineral as a cofactor, at least 1. So if you're not getting sufficient vitamin or mineral, and remember that blood study I told you about, where it says most people do not get enough from diet alone, it appears prudent for all people to take a vitamin supplement. Well, Catalyst is our best multivitamin supplement. and that's the one we obviously recommend. It's the way to maximize your multivite cofactors. Well, let's talk a little bit about immune health now. We've done a lot about digestive health. Now, obviously, most people that come to Manatech, I think, are looking for immune health because of our reputation and because people that have introduced them to Manatech originally came to us for immune health. And as the old saying goes, birds of a feather flock together. We do tend to attract people that are similar to us and have similar interests to us. And that's just normal human psychology. So 20% of the world is looking for immune health answers, and boy, do we have answers. And this is the way to think about it, safely and naturally. Everything we do at Manatech, it is safety first, and we always make sure that the product is efficacious. Otherwise, why make it? Why bother, right? So 20% of 8 billion people, that's a lot of people. And they really could benefit from Manatech products. So which products? Well, here's the list that they'd be looking for immune support. And these are all very, very important immune support products. But I want you to understand that Manipul and the 2 versions of Ambritos and even Manaboom and Catalyst, these are not the primary immune support products. We have this product called IMMUNOSTART. Why do we call it IMMUNOSTART? Because we want you to jumpstart your immune system with IMMUNOSTART. That's where you need to start. That's why we call it that. So when someone says, I have an immune challenge, what do you think? Well, I think they should start with IMMUNOSTART, just like we named it. That's where you start. Okay, so IMMUNOSTART, why is it important? First of all, it's unique in our industry. And by the way, I have a video on that. And if you use your smartphone to take a picture of that QR code in the upper right corner or upper left, depending on how it's appearing on your screen, but in the upper corner, you will then see the QR code, and that'll take you right to my video on IMMUNOSTART and give you more detail there. So I won't go through all the details here. All right. 7 patents have been earned on this unique formula. This is no ordinary immuno product. Okay. 7 patents. That's pretty cool all by itself. And this all has to do, the primary thing, there are other benefits, but the primary benefit is around things called immunoglobulins. Immunoglobulins, basically in simple terms, your immunoglobulins are the antibodies that your body makes when you have an immune challenge. Now, you want to have the right antibodies at the right time in the right amount. And IgG, immunoglobulin G, is the most important of those immunoglobulins. IMMUNOSTART increases IgG. Wow. In fact, there has been research going on for about 5 years with scientists working for drug companies who are trying to figure out a way. I love this. They're trying to figure out a way to use a drug or an injection to make your body produce more IgG in response to an immune challenge. Guess what IMMUNOSTART does? Let me see. It makes you produce more IgG. You get what I'm saying, right? So this is a safe, natural way to do it. And IgG is the most important by far. It's about 75% of all of the immunoglobulins in your body. Some scientists will rate it at up to 80%, but it's the majority. It's found in all bodily fluids. It clearly is the most important antibody because all of the other antibodies have narrow areas of function, but IgG functions across the spectrum of immune challenges. So IgG is the most important. IgA is very important, but IgG is the most important by far. And IMMUNOSTART contains IgG, and it helps your body produce more IgG, which is exactly what you want to do if you have an immune challenge. Now, people, I always get the question, and I'm sometimes a little sensitive, get a little insulted when I get the question, And they'll say, well, is it safe? And then I think to myself, really, give me a break here. Like, I would endorse a product that wasn't safe. Are you kidding me? Anyway, I understand the question. So I point out to them that IgG is the only antibody of all the ones I showed you. It's the only one that can cross the placental barrier. Does the body think that's safe? Yes, if it's allowed to cross into that child growing inside, well then, yeah, that's pretty safe. So yes, is it safe at any age? Yeah, I guess so. If we can start with a fetus and work our way up, yeah, I guess it probably is. You get it anyway, all right? So it also contains beta glucans. Now, there are lots of beta glucans. There are some foods that contain some. So people get confused and they mix them all together and they, mix them up. But we deliberately use 1316 because 1316 has the most scientific study. It has the best documentation. It is safe without any question whatsoever. It's the most extensively studied glucan, or I should say set of beta glucans, okay? And a glucan and a glycan are different. They're not the same thing. And we don't have time in this particular talk to talk about all that. Once again, you have the QR code at the top of your screen. Use your smartphone. That will take you to the video. Don't watch those videos right now. Watch this video, okay? Or I should say this live presentation, but you can watch those other videos later. Okay, it's amazing. Sometimes I'll be talking to audiences and I'll say, you can watch this video, and by golly, they do that right away. Go watch the video. No, stay with me until we're done. All right, laughter is good for your health. It's very, very good for your immune system. I hope you got a chuckle out of that. All right, what about citrus pectin? Now, you've heard about modified citrus pectin. We've talked about it before at Manatech. Why is it important? Well, citrus pectin is actually a plant saccharide. It's a very long chain saccharide. And obviously you have the benefits of saccharides that we already know about. But it's very, very important to your gut flora. It actually helps with your gut flora. It's very fibrous, and that fiber helps your probiotic to have stronger, healthier colonies. Okay, that's pretty important stuff. Now, a lot of people, they say, well, I love Manaboom. I'm glad you love Manaboom. It's a great product. Manaboom was designed to be your immune product on the go. So because it's individually sealed, it's sanitary for you to take anywhere you want to go, all right? And we call it Manaboom because the idea is like, bam, get that immune boost in there, right? That's the idea. By the way, in some countries, you can't use the word boost, so I retract that word. Just, we'll say, to give you that boom. How's that? To give you that boom to your for your health. And again, you have a QR code, so you can use your smartphone to go to a video on Manaboom, a product focused video. When I do a product focused video, it's always short. It's a very, very compact versus a product training video, which is long and more detailed. So when you see product focus, that's the short, quick ones. My hope is that you will take the product focus videos and you will show them to people who are interested in our products, and they'll go, wow, that looks pretty interesting to me. Maybe I should try that product. That's the whole idea of a product focus video. All right, so what's up with Manaboom? Well, Manaboom is a very easy product to use on the go, obviously. It tastes great too. At least I think it tastes great. It's very well flavored, very convenient, obviously sanitary to take with you as you go. And it does give your immune system some quick boom. Yeah, so somebody's already changed the wording on the slide, so I can see that. Boom, right. The last formulation of Manaboom, because we've improved the formulation a couple times. So the last formulation, 150% more vitamin C, increased manopol, and we added zinc as well as even more glycans, or so-called glyconutrients. Glyconutrients are the commercial term. Glycan is the scientific term. Just so you know, I'm a scientist and I tend to say glycan all the time, but in many of our marketing materials, we say glyconutrients. By the way, Manatech coined the word glyconutrient, just so you know. Okay, so we like to talk about glycans for cellular communication. And because I don't have time in this presentation to do that whole presentation, which is around 45 minutes, what you have in front of you are 2 QR codes. Use your smartphones. It will take you to those videos, and you can learn about cellular communication, about true ACE mannan. So I won't spend time on that right now. So just to know, mannapol and the 2 forms of ambritos, those are extremely important to cellular communication, but also they are the glycans for immune modulation, not immune stimulation, immune modulation. Modulation means balance. Stimulation is obvious. You know what that means. All right. So communication and modulation. And the big guns, mannapol. That's the big guns, boy. When you think you need to bring in the big guns, add some mannapol to everything else that you're doing. Catalyst is our best and most potent multivitamin. Yes, we have a couple of other products that offer vitamins as well, but this is our most potent and our most recommended. And it is most recommended because it really is the best. It also has the best balance of cofactors. You need to have certain cofactors. Even ambritos require certain vitamins and minerals to function. And remember that study that said most people don't get enough vitamin by diet alone. It appears prudent everyone should be taking a vitamin supplement. Once again, our man, our creative director in Dallas, he's put a QR code on this slide that'll take you right to the video on Catalyst. And that's pretty good too. I love it that he's done that. Okay, so in the next trend, we're talking about brain health and mood. All right. Brain health can mean a lot of things. That means cognitive function. It means memory function. It means how your mood is, how you feel every day, happy, sad, calm, anxious, however you feel. All right. And we have 7 brain studies at Manatech. 7. So what do we know about ambritos and the human brain? We know a lot. We know it really helps with memory. We know it really helps with cognitive function. And we know it helps with mood. Why is this important right now? You know, we're living in a peculiar time in world history. I love history, by the way. If I could have been able to support a family as a historian, I would have done that for a living. That's how much I love history. And so I'm telling you right now, we are in a very strange time in human history. Very strange, very unique. There's never been a time like this before. Stress has never been at the levels that we currently experience it. And human beings, and I can tell you this as a health psychologist, as well as a naturopath, but I can tell you this as a health psychologist, that most people don't recognize the full brunt of how the stress is affecting them, not just psychologically, but physically as well. Psychological stress affects your physical health adversely. It lowers your ability to fight infection. It lowers your ability to recover from infection. It lowers your ability to heal. So stress is bad news, and it's going up every year. It's not getting better. And I wish I could say that there was some trend to show that it was going to get better, but that trend doesn't exist, not yet. Well, we've gone through a period of isolation, and isolation is bad for humans. We need people. We need to have contact with people. We need to talk with people. We need to hug people. And I know there's so many people that are freaked out about that now. You know, oh, I'm afraid to hug you and all that. Listen, if you don't have human contact, it will adversely affect your physical and mental health. It will. Isolation is bad for your health. Very, very bad. And then social media. Oh my gosh. Now, everybody disagrees with me when I say this, but you know what? I'm a scientist. My job is to speak the scientific facts. You can like it or you don't like it. That's not my problem. I'm gonna tell you the facts. The rate of suicide among young adults is directly linked. The unprecedented increase in suicides among young adults over the last 3 years is directly linked to social media. What happens if you're on social media and you get a like or you get a retweet or whatever platform you're on, if people like what you're doing or they like what you said, your brain will create a chemical that makes you feel good about yourself, makes you happy. Now, it might be a little bit of happiness, it might be a big burst of happiness, but the opposite happens if you don't get the like and the retweet and the share and however that works. Okay. And if you have some vicious person going after you, and it's so common now, where people who think they're anonymous so they can just ruin your life on social media, they just feel free to do it. They're just cruel. So many people all over the internet now. And that is causing increased levels of very, very deep sadness. And again, even linked to an unprecedented increase in suicides. Now, all this stress is affecting our ability to have a good night's rest. And that is a terrible cycle, because if you don't get a good night's rest, guess what happens? You're stressed out more the next day and you can't perform right, which stresses you out more, which affects your sleep more. Do you see what I'm saying? It just gets worse. That's why I think that sleep and calmative nutrients are going to keep going up that list as time goes by, because I don't think the stress is going to get better. And a lack of physical activity, I mean, not to the point where you hurt yourself, okay, as some people do. Let's be reasonable about this, all right? Physical activity makes you feel better. I mean, you should do it. It feels good up to a point, right? Not to the point where you're hurting yourself. But that's important. And there are certain nutrients that affect your mood more than you know. But we go back to that happy gut, happy brain that I talked about before. I won't go over that again. I'm just telling you that that connection is real. Not only is it real, it's amazing that genes in a probiotic are talking to genes in brain cells. I love that. And that affects your mood. It affects how you feel about yourself. Why is gut health so important? That's one of the reasons it's so important. Wow. And of course, gut health is important to help you with the calming and your sleep, because gamma aminobutyric acid, if you don't have enough of that, you can't calm down and go to sleep. If you don't have enough of that, you don't go into the sleep phase. And by the way, I have a different video on sleep and all the phases of sleep. I'm sorry, the QR code is not on this slide for that, but it's I do have a video on that as well. I try to make the videos because I can't be with everybody all the time. I wish I could, but I can't. So use the videos that I make for you, please. And of course, we talk about Catalyst again, because Catalyst has a category of vitamins that I call happiness vitamins. Why do I call them that? Because as a scientist, I can tell you, scientific study on human beings has shown us that certain vitamins make you happy. And if you don't have enough of those vitamins, you can't feel happy. So it's really important that you get enough of your vitamins. And I won't repeat again about the study that was done, the human blood study. I think you've heard that enough. All right, what about Ambrotose AO? Unfortunate name, I hate the name. It should simply be called AO, but it's called Ambrotose AO, that's what it's called. And what it makes people think, unfortunately, is that Ambrotose AO replaces Ambrotose. It doesn't. So our minimum recommendation of Ambrotose is 2 grams twice daily. Ambrotose AO has 300 milligrams. Understand the difference, big difference, okay? So Ambrotose AO, no, does not replace Ambrotose. It is our AO, our antioxidant formula. Now, remember I began with talking about aging? As we age, we are exposed to more and more toxins in the air, in the water, yes, in our food, unfortunately. And as a result, we get more oxidative stress. And people aren't eating, almost no one is eating enough vegetables and fruit to get all of the antioxidant that they need to fight oxidative stress. Oxidative stress relates to 68 different health problems. And it's the #1 cause of premature aging, oxidative stress. So you want to have the best antioxidant you can get. You want to make sure you take it every day. And this is so simple. This has been proven in not just one human study, but 3 human studies. This is the best antioxidant you can buy anywhere on planet Earth based on the gold standard of testing, which is serum ORAC or blood ORAC. The ORAC is an abbreviation that stands for oxygen radical absorption capacity, or the capacity of any nutrient to potentially negate the harmful effects of oxidative stress. Now, once again, conveniently, you can take out your smartphone, take a picture of that QR code on the slide, and that will take you to my product focus video on AO. What about Plus? You know, that was Manitech's first product. Well, actually, the first product was called Epi Plus, all right, but it quickly changed to Plus. This was a product that we started selling in January of 1994. So what, 28 years ago. And our company was formed in, September of 1993, but we started selling products in January of 1994. So technically you could say we're 29 years old, okay? The first product, Plus, that was the kickoff. Everybody loved it, and guess what? No matter what new technology we research and roll out, Plus always is in the top 5 sellers year after year after year since 1994. Why? Because it works so phenomenally well. Now, it's been talked about a lot. In fact, it's talked about primarily by associates in terms of female reproductive system support. But what I want to tell you is that there is strong evidence for adrenal support. If you can support your adrenal glands, then men and women can feel better, and you can feel better in a greater or broader number of categories than you would for just reproductive gland support. And I have believed from the very first test I did on Plus, which was way back in 1995, was the first test I did on that. And what my numbers show, what the blood test showed for my patients was adrenal responses. So I like to remind everybody that your little adrenal glands work really hard. Sometimes they get tired because they have to work 24 hours a day. So with this in mind, Plus, I think, is affecting our adrenal glands in ways that people had not before imagined. The point is, Plus makes you feel good, all right? And for a lot of people say to me, oh, I don't understand the science. Will it make me feel good? Yep, it'll make you feel good. You don't need to know any science. Just take it. You'll like it. It feels good, all right? And by the way, there is a product focus video that I've done, and you can get to that using that QR code on your screen. Isn't that cool? All right, so looking at the top trends, digestive health is trend number 1. Not by a small margin, it's almost double what we see with immune health. Immune health is number 2 and very strong, 20% globally. That's huge. And the numbers of people are just staggering that need immune support, that are looking for immune support answers. And certainly we've got products. We can help, folks. We can help. That's why I'm here. I want to help people all over the world. And I love all of you. Every time you help another human being with our products, even if I'm not aware of it, my energy's with you. I love you for it. It's so important. We really, really need to do this for everybody. We've got the science. We have the products. We can help. And we should help. Think about all the people that need us. Talk to the people that need us. And if you don't know what to say, use those QR codes, watch the videos, and then learn, okay? All right, brain health and mood, we talked a lot about that. Eye health, we talked a little bit about that. Eye health is a big deal. And we keep having some scientists, and I'm I'm dumbfounded by this. I really am. I don't know why any scientist wants to plant their flag and say, oh, well, the blue light from the screen can't hurt you. Why? I don't know. All right. The fact is, there's good data that says the blue lights from your screen, whether it is one of these, your cell phone, the blue light from the screen is the same as the blue light from your computer screens, no different. On your tablets, same light. People are staring at these things all day long now. I mean, some people may as well have them surgically attached to their hands. 71% of the people on planet Earth, apparently, according to the data I've read, take these darn things to bed with them because they're desperate to look at that next retweet and look for that next like and then want to miss a communication. It's like, gosh, people, put it down, right? Your brain needs a rest. The human brain was not designed to be stimulated electronically 24/7. Your brain needs to disconnect. You need to take a breath. You need to relax. You need to enjoy nature. Look at the beautiful ocean or a beautiful lake, wonderful, gorgeous trees that are on this planet, the beauty of nature that's around us. Go somewhere where you can wake up in the morning to the beautiful sound of songbirds. You understand what I'm saying? Put the darn phone down, please. Don't have it with you all the time. Don't take it to bed with you. You don't need to. Please. It's not good for your health. There was a Swedish study, a 10-year study that the US government wanted to completely ignore. I can't speak for every government, but the US government wanted no part of the information because of what the study said. The study confirmed these things are very bad for our health. Limit your exposure, folks. If you care about your health, limit your exposure. That's all I'm going to say about that. And of course, as I mentioned a couple of times, the whole sleep cycle thing. And, you know, go to my library on manatech.com. Watch my video on sleep. I think that you're going to learn a lot, and I think it will be very meaningful for you. Okay. Again, I can't cover it all during this section. So those are the trends in world health today. And those are the directions of the trend for world health. And these are the products that I would direct you to. This is our product line for nutrition, for immune health, for fat loss, skincare. Again, you can do a video that I made called Why Manatech? Why Nutrition? Just use the QR code, watch the video, show the video to other folks, and they will understand why they need to go there. So folks, that's all I have. I know we're at the top of the hour. I hope that you have a wonderful, bright, healthy, sunny Saturday there in Australasia. And I wish I was there with you. Truly, it's been raining cats and dogs on my end. But I know it's so beautiful there. Enjoy nature, folks. Take a deep breath. Eat the right foods. Get physical activity. Make your life as long and as healthy as you can make it, please. So that's it. That's all I have for this morning. And I'm going to stop the share and go back to Sharon.
Dr. Nugent, awesome. There's so much gratitude in the chat. Really grateful for all you do for us. And all right, thank you and God bless. Thanks everyone. We'll see you next week. You'll hear from me what we're going to do. Bye.
Bye-bye, everyone.